Today I want to give you a review on a new revolver that I bought. I've heard a lot of controversial things about this revolver. To tell you the truth, I went down to the gun store. I wanted to buy a Ruger Mark III. I also was interested in a Ruger Single 6. But I ended up getting the Heritage Arms 22 convertible. I won't bother you with all the crap that's in the box, but basically, this is the revolver, and we're going to safety check it. I'm assuming you know all about double click and crap, but making sure it's unloaded. That's for the camera. That's for me. Unload. Okay. Now, this gun, I've heard a lot of bad things about it, and it's mainly from the people on the Ruger Single 6. Now, the purpose of this video is to let people know that they can buy a revolver that's $150 less than a Ruger Single 6. Even if you buy a Ruger used, you could probably get a better deal, but then you're getting a used firearm. You would have to also check to make sure the bore is right, the cylinder lockup's right, trigger action works, everything's intact. This is a brand new firearm for $270 out the door, $249 plus tax. And Gander Mountain, for $30 you get a 2-year warranty, which you take it right back to Gander Mountain, and they elect to say we're going to send it to the factory or we'll just replace it with another firearm. Anyway, and I realized I probably paid on the high end of this pistol. I'm sure, it's going to be a revolver. I'm sure you can get a lot better deal, but even at $250, I figure this is a good deal. This is, as Jeff Quinn would say, this is a dandy little firearm. What I like about it is, people compare this to the Ruger Single 6. Nowhere in the Heritage website, nowhere in the material I've seen Heritage saying, hey, this is this is just as good as the Ruger Single 6. It's not as good as the Ruger Single 6. Ruger Single 6 on the scale from 1 to 10 is a 10. You can't beat a Ruger. Can't go wrong with a Ruger, as my dad always says. But if you don't have the money and you want to get a Single 6, and you want something to beat around, not worry about it, this is a gun for you. I'm going to point out some things why I think this is an awesome firearm for the money. And then again, Ruger's awesome. I don't know why people compare the Heritage Rough Rider to Ruger. That's like comparing a Toyota Corolla to a Mercedes-Benz. We know which one's going to be better. But the Toyota Corolla will still get you where you got to go, completely functional. And that's what I was worried about this. Is it functional? Is it going to be a good firearm? It doesn't have to be match point quality. As long as I can point, shoot, and it works every time. Okay, here's what I like about it. Number one, you can shoot 22 short, any kind of 22s, 22 Stingers, 22 Spitfires, which I have here, and this is a 4.75 inch barrel. So I've checked out the ballistics on shooting 22 ammo out of a handgun. The chart goes either 4 or 5 inches barrels. So I just compare it, somewhere between 4 and 5 inches. But a Spitfire out of a rifle will go approximately 1,500 feet per second. Out of this gun, just a regular long rifle, I'd be safe to say that you can get 1,000 feet per second, maybe 1,050, which is really good. I bought this for plinking, a lot of plinking, and with convertible, I bought it for camping, maybe self-defense if I want to bring it camping. I also have a 9, which is a little heavier. I could bring that camping, but I think the 22 Magnum round is good. And this is the 22 Magnum round. It's between 22 Winchester mags or 33 grain, which is light. But these are the ballistic tip. They cost $21 a box. A little overpriced, but they work for self-defense. I'm not going to shoot them every day. It's worth the extra $10. Alright. So, there's a couple things I really like about this firearm. And excuse me, I don't make a lot of videos, but I'm just telling you the way I feel it. Number one, I think it looks really good. It feels good in your hand. It's got a good balance. I've got big hands. I'm 6'7", 250 pounds. And this fits my hands just perfectly. Anyone else, probably even being better. Also like the fact that it's got real wood. Real wood grips. And the show you the old firearm. I also like the fact that it has the brass PAMs or hardware inside of it, kind of gives it a classy look, and the hammer is stainless steel. And speaking of the hammer, it's got this checkering right here, and the checkering, if you go like that, it seems smooth, but when you're cocking it, it just grips right into your thumb. You're not going to slip. You buy one of these or check one out and you'll see, once your thumb hits that angle, your thumb just sticks right to it, which is really good when it comes to single action. Also is what I really like about it, just the length. I like the length. It's a good length for carrying around, not too big, not too small. And I elected to get the fixed sights. I didn't want to get the adjustable sights. Even if I would have bought a Ruger Mark III or a Ruger single 6, I would have got fixed sights. Reason being, if I'm in the field, something happens to the sights, I don't want to have to dick with it to mess, if they break, I'm up the creek. These are fixed. The only thing that's going to break is this right here, and that's on there pretty solid. So that's my reason for wanting fixed sights. Low maintenance, anyway. So I was looking at this gun. I heard a lot of good, bad things about it. You can swap the cylinder out easy, just like a Ruger convertible. And one thing that people like that doesn't really bother me is the safety. There's a safety on that side. When it's down, it acts just like a regular single 6 with no safety. And if you're at the range, you know what you're doing, just leave it down. You don't have to worry about it. Just treat it like a regular Ruger single 6 and it'll work just fine. But if you have children around or you're just teaching someone how to use the firearm, the safety is a good deal. That's my opinion, of course. And the thing that really sold me on this pistol or revolver is, and I've bought a lot of revolvers, and I'll tell you about those, but it's just the cylinder itself. I've taken my feeler gauges out, and I was looking at cylinder lockup or play. When it's in the uncocked position, there's just very minimal wobble on there, and no front to back wobble. Alright, I checked it with a feeler gauge, 0.08 of an inch gap between the barrel, cone, and the cylinder. 0.08 of an inch. Then, when you pull it back, lock it, firing position, this is solid as a rock. It's solid. I couldn't even get a number 2 feeler gauge in there, so I'm thinking 0.01 of an inch gap between the cylinder and the barrel. That is tight. And this thing is just locked up perfect, and nothing's just secure. That's better than just as good as any Ruger I've had. And I've had two GP100s. I had a Taurus. My dad's had a Ruger convertible, a Ruger old model 22. This is just lockups outstanding. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I bought a Armscor 38 Special Colt Detective clone. I didn't really check it. I didn't know a lot about revolvers then as far as checking, but I was online and looked to see if how you could check a firearm. First thing is the lockup position, how the cylinder plate is, how it locks up. This Armscor was just so much of a wobble, it was crazy. I'm like, wow, this is weird. So what I did is I took a bore light and looked down the bore, and actually the cylinder was not lined up from the barrel. There was a 1/16 of an inch half moon, which means the thing shaved right out of the box, brand new. Sent it back to Armscor, which is good customer service, but they gave me a call and said, we can't fix it. This is the way our firearms are. To tell you the truth, they're not meant to be shot a lot, and our tolerances aren't that great. That's why I would never recommend an Armscor to anyone unless they actually check that cylinder lockup and see if there's a gap in it. If not, it's crazy. I paid that back then 2 years ago. I think it was $228 for the plus tax for that Armscor. But that's what really sold me on this. I've gone out to the range, shot it, about 50 rounds of 22 long rifle, 2 different types of ammo, not a hiccup single. I went to a range with a bunch of people, so it's really hard, and I had been shooting my SKS all day, so I was a little off, a little shaky. It was cold weather, so I couldn't really check the accuracy like I wanted to, but it was getting on paper, but I think I could have done a really good job. And also, I shot 22 mags out of it, and I shot 3 different types, including 1 or 2 of these shells, some CCI Maxi Mags, and a Winchester box of mags. No problem whatsoever. I mean, it just fired smooth. The timing was great. And what I did is I originally painted that front sight fluorescent orange, which is kind of funky. But I ended up just painting it gold a couple times, and it looks good with the brass hardware. So if you're looking for a revolver and you don't really have a lot of money to spend, I mean, if $250 is your budget, instead of spending $420 on up for a new Ruger convertible or a used one, maybe I've seen them as low as $300 without the Magnum cylinder, which is good. If you want to get a new gun and you just going to take care of it, I think it's an awesome firearm. And one thing I would recommend is after each shooting, as I do all my guns, I clean it real well. And when I clean this, I take the grips off. I accidentally spilled a little board cleaner on it, and it almost discolored it. So I'm like, from now on I'm just going to take the grips off, which is undo a screw, pop them off. Then you can see how the mechanism works. Also, if you're going to shoot, after you shoot this, you want to go and tighten up. Make sure each screw is tightened up, because I've heard the problem with things getting loose. If you go up after shooting and cleaning, tighten them up, shouldn't be a problem. A couple of things that aren't the best, but don't really affect me too much, but you have to be careful, is the trigger itself is plastic and maybe a polymer. So you have to be careful there, which I don't see that being a problem. As well as the ejector rod button or tab, that's plastic. So I've heard people, they unload their shells and they let it snap back and then it breaks. Well, if you get in the habit of not snapping it back, should be no problem. So just treat it with a little respect, and I think it'll be a good firearm that will last forever, and hopefully, knock on wood, this is a good purchase. I feel really good about it after taking it to the range and all the negatives I heard about it. But to tell you the truth, I've heard 90% positive and 10% negative, and a lot of that was just people who never owned one or who for some reason did have a problem. And I think a lot of that is neglect. They didn't clean it. You got to clean it after every use. And if you're going to fire 500 rounds out of any rimfire, it's going to get dirty, and you might start getting keyhole or whatever. So you just got to treat it with a little respect, a little maintenance, and I think things should last forever. Again, kudos to Heritage for making such a tight lockup on a little revolver for $250. Now you can also get the version, Gander Mountain, which is only 22 long rifle only, and you can buy mag cylinder from the factory if you want to later on. But even at 22, it will cost $199, and you can shoot mini mags, stingers, Spitfires, all types of ammo. I've always shot just jacketed ammunition, whether it be hollow points or full metal jacket, but I like the jacketed. I stay away from anything that's just a lead around, file up your barrel so quickly. I say, what's the deal? I mean, a box of 333 rounds for the federal, I don't have them here, but like $15 at Sports Authority, so you just can't beat ammo prices. So there you go. If you have any thoughts or positive criticism, don't hesitate to let me know what you think. But so I've shot this, got at the range, shot it. This is an awesome firearm. Let me just give you a quick look at it. And like I said, the lockup's awesome. That's tight. But now it seems it's just tight.